Welcome to the Take Action Real Estate Podcast, where we share our knowledge and experience to help you become a better investor. Coming to you from Columbus, Ohio, Brian and John talk about all topics real estate, share their successes and failures, as well as interview amazing people to help you avoid the pitfalls and find success on your real estate journey.
Well, it's good to have you here. How's your week been?
It has been crazy. Go out of town here tomorrow for the next 3 days. So whenever you go out of town, that's when, tons of business comes in. So in my business, if you don't have enough business, schedule a vacation, because that's what's going to happen.
That'll do it.
So I was running a little late today because I was putting together, people's loan numbers and stuff like that because they're going in contract. So
right.
It's fun. It's busy.
So yeah, I guess maybe you could elaborate a little bit more on what you mean by business. I know you kind of have two things: your day job and then your kind of side hustle investments, right?
So by trade, I'm in my 22nd year of being a mortgage loan officer. So I do residential lending. So you got primary homes, investments, secondary homes, all the way 1 through 4 family units. 22 years of doing that keeps me really busy and pays all the bills and helps me get to where I want to get to. From that, though, my side hustle is the investment stuff, and then that has grown and grown and grown. So it's an easy, natural transition to go from being a mortgage lender into the rental industry. So, I bought my first couple of rentals like in 2001, but just buy and hold kind of stuff. But then as you grow, you get better at that. It becomes an expertise kind of an item. But then you're like, hey, well, what if I do it a little bit this way or do a little bit this way? Or what if I go try something else? So then you get into maybe doing a flip, do some wholesaling or wholetailing, and, let's go buy a share sale. Haven't done that yet. Let's try that. So, it's just kind of ingrained in what I do. So anything within real estate, I've kind of pretty much dabbled or tried at least.
Right. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, how did you get to be what does it take to get to be a mortgage lender? Why did you choose that?
It really found me. Like, honestly, it found me. I, was graduating college, wanted to be a teacher. But then after going through college and going through the whole process of that, I realized I didn't want to be a teacher, because the idea of working and only getting paid in pay increases based off of time is not in my DNA. So I was like, I'm not going to do that. But I do love teaching. I love coaching, and I get to do that in my everyday job. But I was working at Fridays, and I had this one guy came in every single Friday at 11 o'clock. And I served him every single Friday at 11 o'clock. And after a long period of time, getting to know him, he's like, you know what? You'd be great at mortgage lending. I'm getting ready to graduate college. Got nothing else to do. I was like, sure, let's try it. That's how I got into mortgage lending. And 22 years, I'm still doing it. So.
Wow. So what do you say you get to do training now in your job?
Well, mortgage lending there's a ton of information out there. So someone wants to buy a house, whether it's investment property, whether it's a primary home, there's just a ton of information that no one knows what to do with it all. And people are fearful of buying a house because they don't know all the information. I always tell everybody it's the same idea as when you go get your car fixed. I take my car to the mechanic. He tells me my alternator is broken. I know the alternator has something to do with the electrical system. Beyond that, I have no idea. He's just, it's broken. I'm like, okay, so I have to trust him. Because I have to trust him is because I don't know. There's a fear and anxiety that goes along with it. So what I do with my customers, I try to bring them all into my office, talk with them, explain what I do. How do you get pre-approved? What is credit? What is collateral? What's the income piece of it? How does that all actually work? So when you can educate customers, they then become part of the know. The fear goes away, the anxiety goes away, and now they become really great customers. So I get to do that. That's probably my favorite part of my job, is especially my first time buyers when they come in and they're like, oh my God, this sounds amazing. I love this. That's my number one favorite thing I do.
Yeah, that's great. And one of our employees, Randa, came to you, and she had the same opinion. That you're great at that. And just, you and I have done some coin presentations together, and just getting to know you over really the last year or so, you're very good at explaining things a certain way. That seems like a very good fit for you.
It's, like I said, it comes from my teaching, coaching, love, and desire, but then also over 22 years of stealing from other people who say something nice And you're like, I'm using that, because we borrow and steal from everybody all the time. But that's really what drives you. And whatever business you do or whatever thing you do, you got to figure out what is the driving force. And I really enjoy that part.
Right.
So we have a lot of people that listen that, they're kind of new. They're thinking about their first deal. A lot of them maybe don't have a bunch of money. What are some things that they might need to know when buying an investment property?
Ooh, buying an investment property.
Do you do loans on investment properties?
Oh, absolutely.
Oh, okay.
Absolutely. I mean, because in my industry, that's kind of, I wouldn't say a niche, but a lot of loan officers just don't do them because it's, you have renovation loans, you have VA loans, you have USDA loans, you have all these different types of loans, and never going to do the standard, Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac, FHA kind of stuff. But you have some little nuanced loans. Some people just say, I just don't know how to do them. I'm being an investor, been in it for 22 years. I found that as a niche that I liked. So I understand how to make those things work. But the first thing I always do when I do have that new investor, I'm like, well, what do you want to become? Because I always tell everybody there's three types of investors. There's your hobby investor. It means I just want to have 1, 2, 3, or 4 maybe rental properties and kind of be done with it and just kind of have it on the side. Then you might have your intermediate investor. He's like, well, I want to get to 10, 12 or something like that. And then there's the empire builders. I want to have 20, 40, 100 units. They got to totally go, each person's going to go at a different strategy of how you get from A to B. And just like with any business, you got to have where you're at, where do you want to get to, and then what's the path to getting from to where you want to get to. So that's the first question I always kind of do and say, start to set that plan up. Now, obviously, income or cash to close is the hard part, okay, and capital. Not always. Some people have a multitude of capital, and that's easier. But capital is always the thing that slows things down. So it's about trying to figure out where can you access money. Okay, so a lot of times people might have like a 401k that has $100,000 in it, and they want to buy a $100,000 property. I'm like, hey, why don't we just buy a $20,000, get a loan off of that for $20,000 or something like that. Invest in yourself rather than, what your 401k is. Now, my favorite customer, though, is the one who's just starting out. I have these twins right now from Coin, and they're looking to they haven't even bought their first home yet. So a good way for new people who don't own a home yet to purchase rental properties is actually to buy as an owner-occupied, live there for a while, move out, convert it into a rental property. This allows them to buy a home for 3% down. A lot of people can come up with that.
Or a duplex or
a duplex,
fourplex, right?
Quad. Then those really become a lot of fun. It's a way to not have to have as much capital and be able to buy it with less money down. And additionally, because you're buying as an owner-occupant, you're getting a cheaper rate than you are as if you were buying as an investor. And investor loans are considered higher risk because they have a higher default ratio. So, Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac has those rates being higher.
Right. Cool. So we know what attracts you to kind of the day job side, the lending side and stuff. So what attracts you other than just the return on investment to kind of the investment side that you're doing? And also I'd like a little more detail about that. I know you're using other people's money. What kind of properties are you buying? What's your goal for that, long-term, short-term, stuff like that?
My number one strategy or plan or goal for myself is long-term rent and hold. If you look back historically, way back when, take any house in Columbus, you go back 40 years, that house is worth way more today than it was in 40 years. I don't care. Pick any house, even the ones that are boarded up. So it's just, that's the way it is. So I'm in the long-term game. All right. Within that long-term game, you have ups and downs. Okay. And that's fine. But even any house that fits that model. So with that kind of a strategy in mind, I want to make sure, hey, how can I get properties, turn them into rentals? Now, when you're an investor, you are providing a product and a service. It's just like any business. Now, I have every investor has a little bit different philosophy in how they want to be as a landlord. I kind of have a little bit higher level, I think, than most. I like to make sure that I have a higher end product that I'm providing with a really super high quality service. It can burn you sometimes because then you're saying, hey, I got a tenant who maybe doesn't takes advantage of that. But I found that over time that I get a higher quality tenant if I have a really nice product that I'm providing them with really great service. And for my long-term strategy, the numbers up front mean really not a lot to me, because the number one thing that will destroy your long-term strategy is vacancy and maintenance costs. That will eat up all your profits in a heartbeat. So if you can get great tenants who stay a long time, that's where your money is really won at. And to do that, you have to attract those. And how do you attract them? With a great product or service.
Right. And not only stay longer, but take better care of the property.
Absolutely.
We've had tenants, high-quality tenants, who they've even done their own improvements. They're doing the landscaping. I mean, they're making the property even better than when they moved in, and that's just what you get. That's why you spend so much time and money trying to get these high-quality tenants.
You're 100%. I still remember my favorite tenant I ever had like that. She says, "Hey, Mark, can I do a little landscaping?" I was like, "Sure, what are you thinking about doing?" And she says, "Well, I just want to do this little thing to this bed." And I said, "Well, go ahead and take a look at it." And she does it. And I come back like 2 weeks later. I'm like, "You do whatever you want." From that point on, I mean, she stayed for 2 years. She ended up buying a house. So I felt really terrible that she left, but I was so happy. But that place went up in value because she was there.
Yeah.
It was amazing.
That's
I
awesome.
definitely want to be mindful of who you're putting in your houses and do good screening. But I agree that really fixing up a place and making it look nice, and not letting small repairs, that detract quality people from, moving in.
Fix everything the first time. Get everything done right. Don't cheat a corner. Spend a little bit more money. I always use the analogy when you're fixing a faucet, or a kitchen sink faucet. You can go into Home Depot. They have Glacier Bay, Moen, and Kohler. Everyone buys the Glacier Bay because it's $20 or $25, whereas the Moen or Kohler is going to cost you $45, $60. Well, the problem is after a year, you're going to have to you're going to pay some guy to come in and fix the Glacier Bay. So now you're going to spend another $25 to $50 for that service. And then another year, the whole thing's just going to break anyway. So you're going to buy a new one. And plus, it wasn't as nice as the original Moen or Kohler that you could have bought. So you might as well just bought the nicer one, had it be a better product, and it would last longer.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. I remember the first foreclosure that I bought, and I actually bought it to live in it, but it needed some work. And I had kind of a mentor who was my best friend's dad, who knew a lot about plumbing and stuff, and he refused to let me buy cheap equipment. I'd come home with a Glacier Bay or whatever, and he'd go, "Nope, take it back, get a Delta," right?
Yes.
Same thing with tools. Like, he wouldn't let me buy the cheap tools from the whatever dollar
Harbor
store.
Freight or whatever.
Yeah. He'd say, "Nope, I'm not working with that. Go get a Craftsman or go to Home Depot, get some Rigid or whatever." That's funny though.
It's the same thing. Treat people the way you'd like to be treated is really, I mean, it's easy business philosophy, but we really always forget it all the time because sometimes you get thinking about the bottom line. But really, if you're in a long-term strategy and you have the philosophy to say, "Hey, treat them as if it was my family member who was moving in. What kind of product and service do I want to provide to them?" You're going to have some winners and losers, but I guarantee your percentage of winners go up. And that's what you're talking about.
Yeah. That's a great tip. And for us, like, we've been getting more into multifamily lately, and it's even more important to have high quality tenants there. Especially like we just bought a 22 unit and we have 4 vacant units. So it's very important to get high quality tenants in there because that's going to attract even more high quality tenants. When you have people that take care of the property and you have other people moving in next door, they want to see that, that little flower bed out front is taken care of, maybe some mulch in there, they have blinds in there instead of just blankets draped over the windows, stuff like that.
Absolutely. My goal really, I mean, it's impossible when it's a multi-unit, but when it's like single families, you don't want to be known as the rental on the street. If the house looks like any other house, that's what you want. Mm-hmm. And then your multis and stuff, like I just picked up a 4-unit, but we're painting the community space and making it look great. And there's other multi-units around, but my goal is ours to look the best.
Right.
That's, always be thinking about it in that way. And things are just going to take care of themselves, really, because you're right. Attract the highest, longest term tenants that want to stay there. And make it so they don't want to leave because it's so nice.
Right. Now, do you feel like you get a premium?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. Right now, everything that we've bought in the last year, we are resetting rental market rents everywhere we've gone. Picked up a property in Galloway where the average, I think the highest I saw was 900, 950, and we're renting for 1250. But I mean, we have granite. We're putting granite. I mean, people are like, why do you put granite in rental properties? Because HGTV has got everyone thinking that that's what you should have. And not just the buyers want it, but the renters want it too. Yeah. So we can get a higher end tenant who wants to pay that, but wants to have that. And, so we're setting new prices everywhere we go, and there are probably going to be tenants who stay longer too.
Right.
That's what we want.
Well, a higher quality product like granite is going to last forever too.
Yes, it is.
I mean, we'll put new, Formica or whatever vinyl countertops in, and after 1 year of a tenant, the sides are splitting off, the particle board and stuff, and you might have to replace them again anyway. So, yeah, granite's probably 10 times more expensive. Mm-hmm. But if you're gonna, get all those benefits of a high quality tenant and a product that's literally going to last forever, it makes sense.
Flooring right now, that is my biggest number one thing. I will put vinyl plank, and I put in Cortec the 20 grit wear level, so it is lifetime approved. That is my new thing and everything. I'm paying more a premium price for it, but I know I'm never going to have new carpeting. Carpeting is the death.
Yeah, I mean, carpet.
Is that what we use?
We use
vinyl plank.
We tend to put the vinyl plank in all the common areas and bedrooms. We will typically put carpet. People
you can get away with a little bit longer there. Yeah, I agree there.
So, and the vinyl stuff, I think we're paying installed around $5 a foot, whereas carpet you can get it for about less than $2 usually.
Yes, but it's an investment for the long term. Now,
absolutely.
If you're going to only own the property for 2 years, carpet it.
Yeah.
So it depends on your strategy. My strategy is long term for these properties. Now, if I was going to have only planned to keep the property for a couple of years, then I'd probably do a carpet because that just makes sense.
Yeah.
So
when you're analyzing these properties, are you looking at like a minimum net cash flow per month, or are you looking at just a straight ROI minimum, or how are you looking at these?
There's not a perfect science for every single one, so I kind of look them all on case by case. But the general rule is I like to be about $350 a door after all expenses, including property management costs and everything. So that's just kind of what I have up front. However, I will go higher or lower on that depending on the location and what I think that property is going to do. For example, if I buy a property that is in a high appreciating area, like an Upper Arlington or a Powell or Westerville or something like that, I might be willing to just say, hey, I'm going to be about $300 or maybe even only $250, because I also know right now, and I'm just kind of resetting my thinking, because the prices of homes are going up a lot, and especially in the last 3 months, I've noticed a big jump this year. So the cash flow numbers aren't working as well as they did just 6 months ago. They're totally changing already. Because, primary home buyers are pushing that price up more because they're competing more. So I'm probably making less cash flow right now if I do the numbers. However, I also know that there is right behind the increased price goes up, an increase in rents. So I know the rents are going to be following 6 months from now. So you have to change your thinking. So I like to be about $350, but if it's in a high appreciating area that I know I'm going to have good tenants, can rent out really easily, especially at the school districts like a Westerville, something like that, or a Dublin, I might be willing to be $300, even $250. If it's in a Columbus schools, a Hilltop, I used to swear off of Linden, but now I'm looking at Linden again. Actually, I really like some pockets there. I'll usually want to be more like $400 because I'm not going to expect as much appreciation. They're still getting it, but I'm not going to expect it. So if I get it, it's found money to me. So that's it's about finding the right balance. But then also in that, it's not always about the cash flow. I don't want to have all my properties all in one location or all in one kind of class area.
So diversify.
I want a very diversified portfolio. The diversity helps you get through the bad times. Okay, so everyone kind of likes to do, hey, what's the numbers look like? Well, today's great. The market's amazing right now. But if you're building a portfolio, you need to not plan for today. You need to plan, what does my portfolio look like when, everything is wrong, when we're in another recession? Mm-hmm. And every property is going to have a different vacancy factor. So people do these ROIs and say, well, my vacancy factor is 10. Well, if it's in a hilltop, your vacancy factor during a recession is like 40 or 60%, because not only that are vacant, but you're evicting, which costs even more money.
Right.
But if you're in, Upper Arlington, your vacancy factor is 5. It just doesn't matter.
Right.
So you have to look at your portfolio. And I always talk to my investors. I say, we must stress test your portfolio. For the good times, fantastic. But then how about not so good and then terrible? What do you look like? And then make decisions based off of that.
Right. Yeah, that's great. I think we did a whole episode on kind of stress testing your business. And, I think for us, we took all of our rentals and I can't remember what the number was, but we reduced the rent, assuming, we go through a correction and rents decrease by 20 or 30%. And so we cut that right off and said, okay, how does our company look if we're making, 30% less gross rents on all of our portfolio? And it's really eye-opening. And the truth is, 30% may be extreme. I think our accountant told us that during the Great Recession, it was about 30%. Are we going to see that again? I don't know if it's going to be that drastic, but it's really eye-opening, and it caused us to kind of go through and set some things in place to kind of replace some of that cash flow.
And the thing is when you do those stress tests, 30% seems like a lot, but if all your properties were in Hilltop, you would have loved to have had that number.
Yeah.
I know people who had 60 units down there, and they were maybe getting paid on 15 of them.
Mm-hmm.
And they were having to go through the eviction process in the other one. So, that wasn't a good model that person was in, because now they were losing money drastically and just bleeding at the gills. But, different areas. I got an investor who will only buy in Upper Arlington, Grandview. That's all he'll buy. But guess what? During a recession, it's going to be nothing. It just does not matter. So his number would be 5.
Yeah. Yeah.
Where are you finding your deals, and how are you primarily funding them?
I do great on MLS, but I do find properties in other places too that just kind of find me. Because just in the business I'm in, I sometimes get I'm talking to someone, they're like, hey, I'm just looking to sell this property. So especially when I'm doing a loan, when I do the loan, I'm doing the loan and the seller has other properties and they liked how well the process went, because I try to include them in the process. And they're like, hey, I'm looking to sell some more. I'm like, really? What do you got? So I just had an opportunity on a duplex in Dublin the other day too. So, those are hard to come by.
Oh,
yeah. Those things do just kind of happen. But I've bought from the sheriffs before. I've done a wholesale purchase, but I'd say the bulk of everything I bought directly from MLS or Zillow kind of stuff. But it's just, and everyone's like, I can't find anything there. And I'm always like, give me 10 minutes and I can find good deals. What problem people run into is everybody wants to find the best deal in Columbus. Yeah. And I'm like, you're never going to find the best deal. Don't find the best deal. Find a good deal. Because any good deal today, if you look at it 12 months from now, will be the best deal available.
Right.
But I'm in a long-term rent hold strategy. So whether or not I buy something for $3,000 or $4,000, a little bit more or less, not a big deal. And in case, and you just want to get buying. You want to go make a decision.
Right. Taking action.
Yeah, take action.
Getting out and running your numbers and making offers and putting together your plan. Contacting someone like you to make sure you can get a loan and
getting all your ducks in a row. You do have to hustle. I don't care if you're doing wholesale, your sheriff. Required in real estate is hustling. No one won the deal by going slow. Yeah. Has that ever worked for you guys?
Yeah.
No. You must act quickly, knowledgeably, and get to where you need to get to. When we found properties pop up on the MLS, we were running to them and making offers within 2 hours of it hitting the target before everyone else can get there. And that's how we were able to buy a lot of properties, what I think were good prices. And the thing is a lot of times we never finished on the prices that we actually were in contract for. We were in contract on my quad, and we ended up getting for almost $13,000 less at the end of the day.
Just after request a remedy and stuff? Or?
Lots of fun stuff. Because the best thing is, there are a lot of bad realtors out there who do not know how to negotiate. number one, they just don't care. They just want to sell the property. Those are my favorite people to negotiate with because, I had 0 of the last 10 properties we bought, not one counter to my request to remedy cost. Not one. And I kept trying to push it more and more. And then the answer is always, well, how much do you go? And the answer is enough that they just say yes and don't walk away. And I always try to figure out what that is. But sometimes that's $6,500 and $6,800, and you just kind of have to figure it out. But yeah, there's walkthrough. I always like to buy with cash. If you can buy with cash, that's great. Because then you have, especially the curb offers. Love the curb offers because that just means an extra time to negotiate. So you go in and you buy it. You earn the opportunity to negotiate because that's really what the curb offer is.
Right.
You then do your walkthrough. So then you negotiate. Then you do your home inspection. You negotiate again. And if the realtor screws something up, like he did in the quad that I bought, we negotiated again. Like one day before closing, I got an extra $2,500 off that project.
That's awesome.
So it's fun. It's just getting deals, making them work.
Right. I'm fascinated that you're still finding all your deals on the MLS because when we did our coin presentation together, it was me, you, and one other person. We had to find 3 properties that each one of us was going to analyze. And I remember, I was like, okay, where are we getting these deals from? You said the MLS. I'm like, what are you talking about? There's no deals on the MLS. Our company was built on off-market deals. And that's how we find all of our deals. We skim the MLS occasionally, but rarely find something that makes sense for us.
For your model and what you guys do, though, I can see why. Although I think there's a new opportunity there because you guys like to buy properties and fix them up. So I think the opportunity actually for you guys' kind of business is to find the properties where the people fix the property exterior and then leave the inside gutted. So they do the half job and then you come in and finish it. I think that's a really cool opportunity that if I had the crew to do that, I would be buying those properties and fixing them for either long-term rent and hold or flipping even. There's pretty cool strategies there. Occasionally, one of my best properties I ever bought was on an MLS down in Southern Orchards for a big 3-story duplex brick for $36,000. So
you still own it?
I still own it. So
that had to be a little while ago.
2 years ago. So it was right before Southern Orchards was really, it was just, that was a speculative deal. I was like, hey, I kind of see what I think's going on in this area. I like, brick. I like, the property. It had new windows. It had good bones. It was structurally sound. So I was like, let's just buy this thing and see what I want to do with it. Now it's totally a different strategy than my normal thing, but I'm always trying to do something different too a little bit.
Yeah.
But
yeah. Southern Orchards has come up a lot. And there was like a 6-month period where you were seeing wholesales like 30, 40, 50 grand. 6 months later, it was like 90 to 100 is what all the wholesalers were asking. You had a couple comps in there that sold close to 200, and then everybody, that was the ARV from there on out.
Exactly. When I originally bought my duplex, my plan for it was to fix it all up and then turn around and get my capital back out. So just a little burst strategy and then long-term rent and hold. When I bought it, I was thinking, I might be able to appraise for like 150 and get like 115. If I get it finished the way I do, I know I'll appraise for at least 275. It's
a pretty good deal.
It's just insane down there. So now I'm just torn with, do I even want to do that? Or should I just sell it as it is again, and just wholesale it? So it's that's what's crazy about this real estate market. You never know. It's just, just buy something.
Right. Yeah. So how are you funding most of these deals?
A lot of it's just all my own cash. On my personal stuff, it's my own cash stuff I, built up from my normal day job and things like that. So that's been nice. But my other big project that I've really been involved with was an investment group that me and another guy put together, Jim Pfeiffer. We were kind of talking about maybe getting a group of people together to fund, pool their cash together. We formed an LLC. We got 10 total, us included, partners to this LLC. And then, so now we got a big pile of cash. Now we just got to go find properties. And all with the same strategy of long-term rent and hold. We might get into some other, side stuff here and there, but the main 70% of our strategy is long-term rent and hold. And we went out and spent all that money in about 2.5 months, found all of our properties, had an idea of what we thought we could rent them for and stuff like that, but we're surpassing all those. We're a little bit behind on our, renovation of some of the properties because we didn't get into any major renos, but we do have some we'd like to definitely upgrade. So we're still trying to get that done, but.
Are you guys looking only locally here, or are they
Yes.
pretty much everywhere?
No, this LLC that we formed, it was everything to be Central Ohio, not trying to go outside states or whatever. So we formed it with a whole operating agreement with a concise plan that what we were looking to do, and everything we found on there, by the way, was on MLS except for one property. So
What was that one from? Wholesaler?
no, that one was just because it was a single family attached house that I owned the other side.
Oh.
And the owner on the other side moved to Georgia and was wanting to sell it. And he goes, "Do you want to buy it?" And I said, "Sure." Cause I make a lot of rent on that property.
Right. Yeah. Word of mouth. That's
Yep.
awesome. How many hours do you say, or how many hours would you say that you put towards your investment? Obviously you have a full-time day job. And I guess, what are you doing most? Is most of it coordinating the money and the funding and things, or is it just simply being on the MLS finding deals or networking, or what does that look like?
On the investment group that I'm in, okay, so Jim and I are managing partners on that. So we kind of make all the decisions for the whole group, but there's occasionally we have to get approval from the other members. But on that one, I just kind of my focus is the finding the buying of properties and stuff like that, negotiating and all that stuff. So I'm really not handling. I let Jim kind of handle all the monies and stuff on that, and deal with the accounting. I couldn't even tell you today what's anywhere near what our bank account is. I have no idea. It could be $2 or 200,000. I just don't know. But that's what.
So Jim just tells you to go or to stop. Right?
Exactly. I was like, "Do we have the money? Okay, let's do it." He hasn't told me no yet, I guess. So, but when we were looking for those properties, I was easily spending 20 hours a week on that, easily, because I knew we needed to rush out because there's been a change. I'm glad we bought all those during winter because I knew that was the best time to buy. Your houses are not going to be. There's not going to be as much competition. Anyone sitting out there is going to be a little bit more desperate, not seeing much action. I'm competing with 3 or 4 people, not 34 people, which is what is happening now.
Yeah.
I just had someone won the contract, but they were the winner of 38 offers on a property in North Linden. So, great property though. It's awesome.
They won the bid, but did they really win?
Yes, they did. This is a great house, actually. And what's good, here's the strategies though. Listing agents know what's going on. They are under listing properties significantly, knowing that they're going to drive so much traffic to that house and so many offers that then people are, freaking out, and then you have to go up higher and higher and higher. The winning bid was 30,000 over list. And it legitimately could have maybe went higher. There were comps
it will
there.
appraise, you think? Oh, there's comps.
There's
there.
comps
Okay.
up to 160, 65 in North Linden right now. That's crazy.
That's crazy.
John, you know me long enough. I probably first time I talked to you, I said I will never touch Linden. That was like my last place, and now I'm like, I want North Linden.
I'm gonna have to check this out now. We own a few properties in North Linden. I want to see
Sell,
what the ARV is now.
If they're in North Linden, you're probably doing a lot better than you think.
Time to refinance.
That's awesome.
So, but it's so in the beginning, I definitely at different times I spend a lot of money, a lot of time focusing on it. But right now I'm heavy in my normal job, so I'm not getting as much time. But right now I'm just kind of project managing a little bit more. Trying to get through, the properties that we have are all purchased, but now we need to get them renovated. Then we got to get them rented. We have a property manager that we hire to totally handle once it goes rental. So we got just a dynamite property manager. I'm not going to say her name because I don't want everyone calling her. But
So stingy.
Keep her all to yourself, right?
Secrets. But it's really the idea is to build that into let it just run itself when it gets to be done. But we want to put in the best stuff the first time, have everything fixed the right time to avoid long-term maintenance or vacancy issues.
Gotcha.
So, and then on my personal stuff, it's just a hobby. I just like it.
Yeah.
I can just be 11:30 at night and go from 11:30 to 1 in the morning just looking through stuff and say, what could I do with this?
Do you have your property manager run those as well?
Yes, I do. Yeah. I used to manage my own, and I used to, think, that's going to save me some money. No, a good property manager actually makes you money, knows how to keep your rents going up. Just every time you get a call, it's always at the most inopportune time trying to self-manage. I mean, I don't know how it's possible, but every time I went on vacation or went somewhere, that's when the call happens. So just not having to deal with that is fine. There's only one property that I still self-manage. And that's just because I've had the tenant for 8 years now, and I've just known her for so long. So, but I can handle one. But I do really enjoy it. It's because you build relationships throughout the whole process, which is a lot of fun.
Yeah, it's good. Good property manager is definitely a must when you're a passive investor with rental properties.
I mean, I look at it as I don't manage my 401k every day. I'm not looking at it. I look at it probably like most people twice a year. Oh, how's it doing? There's someone who's managing it for you. And then you say, is that person doing a good job?
Right.
Your property manager is the same thing. Are they doing a good job? Are they getting the right people? Are they managing it? And are you getting the returns that you expect? And are they doing it in the right way? Which is key too. So if anybody ever is looking for a property manager relationship, you need to find someone who shares the same rental philosophy as you. Don't ask about dollars. Whether you're paying someone 8, 9, 10%, does not matter. Do they share the same rental philosophy? So, I was telling someone this just yesterday. I was like, if I was an investor that I believed that tenants are just going to destroy your property, put in the Glacier Bay, I really don't care. Just give me cash. It does no good to go find a property manager who believes that you should have, high quality stuff. That,
right.
Find a like-minded property manager and ask for the, results of that, or let me see some of those properties. So that way, you have the same goals in mind. And I'm not saying one's right or one's wrong, really. I mean, it's just my opinion, the way I do my things. But other people have different ways to do things, and they're all successful. I mean, you work off a wholesale. I've done 1 or 2 wholesale deals ever, but you know how to make that work for you. I know how to make MLS work, and vice versa. And everyone's got a different strength or a niche they know how to make work. So don't fight that. Use that, and then use other opportunities to enhance, and that's what I love about like Coin, because Coin has given me the opportunity to learn new things to enhance. I was blown away when I learned about Airbnb down there.
Oh yeah.
I mean,
having nesters on there and explaining that. Very interesting. As soon as they said, yeah, you get about double your gross rents as you normally would, I think everybody's eyes got big. And
that was exciting. But what I got me excited was I have someone cleaning my property every day. I have no long-term maintenance or vacancy kind of issues like that.
Right.
I mean, it's a total different mind-blowing strategy that I really still haven't gotten into, and I just need to jump into it and find that right property. I had when I screwed it up. But I will get into it and just try it out. Now, I probably won't Airbnb it myself. I'll find a super host to do it for me.
Right.
So, just like a property manager.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, yes, you're going to make less money because you got to pay that person. So what? Are you making money? You're having a property that's being maintained, and yes, that's what you need to do.
Right.
So your family, tell us a little bit about your family, kids, wife.
Yeah, I got a wife. She's in real estate. So that's kind of nice. She actually, one of the nicest things about when we just did our big investment group running around, I could say, hey, this popped up, let's go now. Okay. I mean, it's hard when you have, realtors have lives too.
Yeah.
But when it's your wife, it makes it a little bit easier to make your life work together to run around and go find properties.
Yeah.
I mean, and to have someone I can just be driving around and I'm with my wife, I'm like, hey, look at that property. Let's see if it's a show and go. Let's go look at it right now. I mean, that's nice. Not everyone has that advantage.
Right.
But I have 2 boys, about 21 and 19. So,
are they involved with you at all?
They've done things from time to time. Like when I used to manage a lot, I used to bring them with me and stuff like that because just kind of introduce them to the idea of it a little bit. because I do talk to him about passive income. I was telling my older one, I go, I'm sitting here at this kitchen table with you and I'm making money.
Yeah.
You are not.
Yeah.
You have to go to work to make money. So I'm trying to talk to him about passive income. But he just recently moved out and he was going to rent, but instead I helped him find a condo in Dublin. And now because he wanted to live in that area, he was going to pay like $1,200 rent. And now he's got a total housing expense of under $900 and he's owning something.
Yeah, and he's going to grow equity. And
And now my younger son, he's in college. And instead of him paying, dorm costs and stuff like that and housing expense down there, we're looking to buy a house for him on campus so they can have his buddies live with him. And he'll basically, either have all of his expenses paid for the rest of college paid for or actually make money coming out of college.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So
a lot of people do that, and
it's,
that's a good strategy. If you
I
can do
think
it.
every parent should be doing that with the cost of tuition and stuff like that now. If you can take away the housing expense out of that in today's
For
college
sure.
market, I'm so glad my kids are at their age. If I had 2-year-olds, what's the cost going to be? Like $500,000 to go to college. So,
Well, hopefully we've built a business big enough that my kids can come over here and start working in it, and they don't even need to go to college. We like to play. I have 3 of my kids are old enough. We play the cash flow game, and it's a fun way to have conversations about, what should you spend your money on and what kind of investments and how to use the financial resources that we've been given.
how old are your kids?
My oldest is 15, and then the 13-year-old and the other kid that plays is 11.
Okay. How are they do they seem to be receptive to it?
Oh yeah, they're definitely into it. My 11-year-old is always asking me questions about our business and houses and.
See, my
So-
younger one is my Scrooge of the family. I love it. I never worry about him. He made $9 last like 2 months in college. I don't know how he did it. He just always has money
Yeah.
and can live off of nothing. Whereas my older one has like really expensive lifestyle ideas and stuff like that. And I've tried millions of times to try to explain how to balance a checkbook, unsuccessfully over and over.
successfully.
But I always love to. That's why I asked. See if you were doing better than I did.
I don't know if I'm doing better, but my kids do some odd jobs, babysitting, mowing around the neighborhood,
Clean the office.
clean our office, and actually they don't spend really much money at all. So they're
Yeah.
young enough that parents are covering most of their expenses, and
I think at least introducing your children to it
yeah,
pops in the idea and they see it, and everyone has that in them. It's just a matter of when does it make them take action.
Yeah.
And I think at some time I would assume both my children, and probably actually my older one, the one who I have more difficulty with, I actually think he's probably more probable to actually have rentals because I think he'll see that as like, I don't have to work.
Yeah.
yeah,
And I think it hits everybody at different times. I think it's cool that you're trying to explain to him that, the passive side and that you're making money while you're eating breakfast. I remember like when I was 21, I didn't understand cash flow. Like I wanted to get into real estate and flip houses and stuff because it's, glamorous and cool and whatever. But it wasn't until I was probably 26 or so that I really realized, when I was right before I quit my day job, I knew I didn't want to be there. I knew I wanted another avenue for that. And then, all that kind of came back, all the books that I'd read and stuff. And, instead of just flipping, we started, buying rental properties and just saw it exponentially grow.
yeah. So I think takeaway for me is I'm going to start combing the MLS a little bit more. So you might have some more competition, Mark.
I tell you what, I really don't even, I rarely play on Realtor. I actually play on Zillow more just because it's easy to, look around and see what's available and pop a couple things in and out.
Yeah,
And you also pick up the for sale by owners. But here's why I can do it well. I know every area, and people make the mistake of not knowing areas. Yeah. And when you get to become really comfortable with what an area is, and you can pretty much say a street and the street, it makes it so when you're looking at properties on a Zillow map page and you click in, you're like, I know all about this thing. I have a lot of information. But everyone's like, well, how'd you get that? Well, funny enough, when I don't have to get somewhere really fast, I get off the highway. Everyone flies around the 670s, 70s, 270s because you got to get to where you got to get to really quick. Leave a little bit earlier and take the side streets. Like everyone was, I've never been down this road before. Go. Get to know, if you're going to be in real estate, become an expert of, here's an idea, real estate. Everyone wants to jump in and say, I want to be doing this stuff without doing your homework first. If you want to be in a particular area, then know everything about that particular area. Now, I want to be in all areas, so I've driven up and down all the Lindens areas. I've driven up and down the hilltop areas and then the southern orchards. For example, Milo Grogan. Everyone's like talking about Milo Grogan. I hadn't been over there yet. So I spent 20 minutes just driving up and down Milo Grogan, really trying to feel out that area. What's the commercialism going to be happening over there? What's going on? What do I think? And then I can form my own opinion, right or wrong, but you come up with an opinion. You're not just going, I don't know, but it's do your homework, and part of it is knowing the area. When people talk about Southern Orchards or Franklinton or something like that, they're like, well, it really depends on the street. Well, I've been doing this for 22 years, and I remember a time that when you talk about Clintonville, that's exactly what they said. They said, well, it depends on the street. Now, what happens when you say Clintonville? It's Clintonville. Done.
Yep.
It does not
high
matter.
end, go fast, rents high.
Yep. You don't have any opinion. So I see the same things just repeating because I've been doing this for so long. I know there'll be tweaks and changes a little bit here and there, but it's the same kind of things that happen over and over.
Yeah. That's great advice. Well, thanks so much for being with us here. Do you have anything else? Any more advice for investors or?
Oh, I got advice forever. I'm great with advice.
Okay, never mind.
No, thanks for having me.
What's the best way that people can get in touch with you? Email or home address, cell phone, whatever?
Really, actually, cell phone. I am old school. I love meeting with people. I love talking to people. I give my cell phone out to everybody. I have people texting me, calling me. I reply as fast as possible. I've taken emails, calls, and texts at 12 o'clock at night. And I just do because I'm probably up looking at properties because that's what I like to do. If you want to reach out to me, feel free, 614-354-9424.
Nice. You have to let us know how many calls you get from.
Probably get 1 million now.
Yeah, probably. It's roughly how many listeners we have. So.
I think someone's calling me right now. No.
All right, Mark. Thanks a lot. Have a good weekend.
Thanks for having me, guys.